Dear friends, over the course of the last 3 years, I have conducted about 450 interviews with respected experts and other people who know what they're talking about. They have explained to us the medical side of the corona pandemic, its eugenics background, and its intended genocidal consequences. They have explained to us that the economic destruction and the destruction of the global population's health are not side effects, but intended by Mr. Global. And they have explained to us the real goal of Mr. Global, population reduction and complete control over the survivors, whose exclusive function is to be at Mr. Global's disposal as slaves. Well, that is not going to happen because we are preventing it right now with everything we're doing, including and especially with the way we are connecting with each other in an ever closer manner and exchanging information. The most important takeaway from all these interviews, for me at least, is that by my estimate, 10% of what we're seeing is real danger, but 90% is just an omnipotence show. This show, in turn, is presented to us by Mr. Global as an illusion based on sophisticated psychological warfare and mass mind control perfected by the British Tavistock Institute and its offshoots in the United States. And, by the way, also with the help of special effects from Hollywood. This is pure psychological terrorism, just waiting to be exposed by us. That is why, for a few weeks now, I have been looking more closely at the significance of psychology in the context of this warfare, and have read a few books and scientific articles on the subject, from which I have produced a dossier. I will now publish this dossier with supporting documents in German and in English through a video. It will deal, among other things, with the artificial creation of isolation, confusion, loss of identity, and hysteria in a society, which thus becomes susceptible in a virtually tailor-made way to all forms of scaremongering. Not only the pandemic, but also the global warming scam, the energy and food crises artificially created by Mr. Global, but also the Ukraine crisis, as well as their latest scare, UFOs. A textbook example for this is the hysteria created in Germany after World War I, which was pushed and financed by Mr. Global on both sides, as a consequence of the suffocating Versailles Treaty and the roaring 20s with rampant prostitution, drug abuse, child trafficking, etc. Does this sound familiar? It was the perfect breeding ground for a psychopath like Hitler, who in turn was financed again and supported by Mr. Global so that he would advance his eugenics madness. In short, the goal of all of this psychological terrorism is, once again, to gain total control over the people and to make them follow orders because of their fear. Blindly follow orders of any idiot, no matter how insane these orders are. Like, for example, let us inject you with untested, highly dangerous substances so that we can make money with it and you kill yourselves with it. Or go to a war started by us so that we can sell our weapons and arms with the help of your tax money and you kill each other. But I do not only take a look at those who are obviously and visibly on the other side of the fence and who take part in this psychological terrorism against the population because of psychological defects, stupidity, cowardice, greed, or extortion. I will also focus on those puppets of Mr. Global who, for the same reasons, psychological defects, stupidity, cowardice, greed, or extortion, have crept into the resistance, appearing to be on our side, and who are now that we're making headway on all fronts trying to damage the resistance from within, sometimes in a strangely hateful way. I'm talking, of course, about controlled opposition. Here, too, the same psychological considerations apply, including the focus on psychopathy. There, The controlled opposition's sometimes puzzling, contradictory behavior can, in fact, only be explained through this psychological view. A danger detected is a danger less. This is perhaps a little too simplistic, but the first step towards danger elimination is always, of course, the recognition of that danger. Through this approach, we will be able to see more than just the strangely cold, unsympathetic, and artificial people who are trying to appear human by sometimes clumsily, sometimes obviously, using their rehearsed before a mirror human behavior. We will be able to make sense of it, and by exposing them and their activities, we guarantee, just as with vampires exposed to the light, their demise. I stand for justice. To bring justice about is my job as an attorney. And Dexter Reinefeld and myself, together with the International Group of Attorneys, are absolutely convinced that this can be done on the only independent legal platform, namely on the platform of Maori tikanga law. The statements of freaks who pretend to be lawyers, or at least to have some legal knowledge, but in reality have to refer to Wikipedia as a source of their knowledge, they will not have any impact whatsoever on what we are doing. There will be justice for all, because without justice, there can be no peace and no democracy. We will hold all of those who are responsible to account, everyone, whether in politics, medicine, science, the media, the judiciary, or even in the resistance. We are coming for you. Buckling up, by the way, will not help. This is not a warning. This is a promise.